So when you see me on your block with 2 Glocks screaming fuck the world like Tupac, I just don't give a fuck. Oh, just do not give a fuck, ladies and gentlemen. That's probably why I'm so successful in life, in art, with the women, you know. Those old womeny women. This is part 3 of our Big Arm Club drawing topic theme project. This is not a charger from Left 4 Dead 2, as I was going to do originally, but then I thought, you know, they're cool, they look, ultimately it's a zombie with 1 big arm. Maybe doesn't have that wide an appeal. So instead I'm doing Morty with his big arm from Rick and Morty. And also, as of recording this, I believe in a few days season 4 starts. So it's somewhat relevant there, isn't it? Yeah, Rick and Morty, something. So this is Morty with a big arm. That's about that. I don't know if it's worth discussing how I come about these poses. That's often what I find one of the most difficult parts of drawing a single character, is figuring out what bloody position to draw them in. Because you can draw them just standing and go, this is the character, look, it's the character, and it can be a good enough drawing. But ultimately, meh. You know, it looks about as good as a drawing of the character can look. But, you know, then you can go over the top. I think I might have some examples. I dropped my pen. I might have thrown my examples away because they were shitty. Yeah, I think I did actually. Let me just have a quick look through my papers. Yeah, I think I threw them away. Yeah, so you can have an action pose, but then, as happened with my Tetsuo one, I forgot to show you the drawings I did beforehand. The action pose was sort of too actiony. There was too much going on. So I try to find a medium between static and active. I call it stacktive. I've never used that word before in my life, but it seems to do the job. Let's give him his eyelids coming up here to make him look super worried about the fact that he's got a big fucking arm. Oh my god. With those weird star-shaped fucking Rick and Morty pupils. I really hate the pupils on that show, but you know, I don't work on the show, what do I know? Yeah, so somewhere between really active and just standing doing nothing. So this sort of like, it has a rough line of action, it has creases and bends and movements and such. You know, there's stuff going on, action lines, composition, character and such. So, you know, that's good. I tend to bend the body one way or the other. Either, if this is a torso, I tend to either bend it inwards a bit or bend it backwards a bit to give more action. Now, when I'm bending it inwards a bit, this is the rib cage and this is the tummy, otherwise known as the tummus in Latin. So you've got to bear in mind the shape of the rib cage is more or less like that. So there'll be an initial fold here, but then the space between here and here creates a fold here. So you do, in fact, in general, as works best for visualizing things in drawings, you have the thing and then a fold and then the thing. You have the thing and then a fold and then the thing. Oh, hilarious. The ribs and then a fold of material or skin or whatever here, and then the tummy. Don't forget your center lines to give everything that sense of shape. And then that's the front and the side and the head. And when they're bending backwards, it's just the opposite, really. So the rib cage is this sort of shape with a diaphragm there. So then you just stick a fold here, if there would be one. And obviously you can bend the arms this way to get dramatic poses and such. Have the legs wide apart to make them more dramatic. Big shouty face. Urgh. Action poses, yeah, rather than, as I say, just having a character standing, being a character like that. Get it? It's Ewan's Tutorials with Ewan's Tutorials. I ought to not get too detailed. Obviously, this is the rough sketches I have mentioned I do before, as you know, every single artist ever on the planet does, except that damn Kim Young-gi. Curse him and his wily ways of drawing everything straight away first time in great detail. I also fucking despise Morty's haircut. I cannot abide it in the least. It's fucking horrendous. And not even in terms of a haircut, it's a stupid haircut, but also just character design and whatever. It just looks like a fucking, I don't even know what to call it, a slab of meat or something slapped across his head. It just, I hate it so much. Give him some sort of worried, exasperated expression. I know he doesn't have a chin in the show, but I'll give him one anyway. Artistic license, that's what that's called. So this is the wrist and forearm of the big arm, the bicep, is that the tricep at the back? I don't know, I used to know once upon a time, but then I stopped caring. And the deltoid, I think. So this again here is the fold. This fold here is the equivalent to this fold here, where two parts fold together and push this outwards, so that you'll see when I, finish it all up. And the hand. A good thing to remember about hands, the middle knuckle, this one here, it's usually best to have a straight line from here all the way up the arm. So if this is the center of the forearm, and then, that's the middle knuckle. And my trick I use is almost every time I draw hands, depending on which way the hand's facing, I will go 1, 2, 3, 4 for the knuckles, and then that gives me a guide of where to put the fingers. This hand I'm making in sort of a grabbing, maybe a bit wider. Yeah, that sort of position. Pinky out there like that. Maybe make it, I want to make it big and muscly, but not too over the top and veiny. But I mean, I'll probably see how it comes out when I do the final drawing. And this is just me trying to work out how stuff looks as an image, as opposed to, is the hand correct, is this and that correct. His legs are quite short. I'll make his trousers a bit baggier than they actually appear in the show. Give his feet a bit more shape than they actually have in the show. As much as I love the cartoon, the designs I feel are maybe somewhat lacking but it's just how they do it nowadays, isn't it? Ugly adult cartoons. Oh, it's all about the writing and the humour. But they could look good. There's no reason they shouldn't look like shit all the time. Yeah. Have you seen Big Mouth? Oh, I fucking hate it. I don't find it funny. And it's ugly as shit. Now, okay, a problem I have now, I was going to have the hand here like this, as you can see, but I feel like this mimics this a bit too much, so I might have his fingers splayed out. Like that. Maybe. His arm's really long, actually. I think I need to shorten that a bit. Yeah, that works. I put his arm up. Like that. It's coming together. It's getting there. Not perfect, but, you know, swaddled doddle. That looks passable, maybe. I don't fucking know. Let me just put his shirt a bit lower. He does have quite a long body, old Morty, doesn't he? Maybe I've made it all a little too short. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. Probably. Do I want his arm behind him? Or coming out like that? Yeah, that might work better. If I put his arm like that, with a fist here, could that work? That could work. So this is how I do the rough sketch, and then I tend to outline it. I just use a big fat marker pen that I bought today for a separate video. Oh, speaking of a separate video, it was a funny little Mr. Doodle video. It's only like a minute and a half long. I'll put it in the podcast. I'll play it right now. I'll keep quiet while I play it.
Oh hi, I'm Mr.
But also, I might not
Strudel.
keep quiet while
Today
I
I'm
play
going to
it.
be
Maybe I'll
strudling
just
a
talk
doodle.
over it.
But what
So
am I doodling?
the
It's me, of
noise in the
course.
video
Here's my
interferes with the noise in
stupid
this
head.
video,
And my
and
gorgeous
it's all
blue
one big
eyes.
mess,
Here's my
and it's hard to
dumb
listen
orange
to.
beard.
And you
my
can't tell
general
fucking
expression of
what's
absolute
going
indifference
on.
to everything around me.
This marker
Helen
might be a
knows.
bit too big.
But I'm also a trash
using
bag. See,
some of
because
the
I'm garbage.
definition I was
Absolute
hoping to
filth. But I'm not just a head in a
But,
bag. I've also
either
got
way, it
arms.
should work.
Here's
So
one
this is just
with
for
a
me
hand
to,
at the end of it. But what's the hand
obviously,
holding? I guess we'll see.
have a nice
It's
bold line
all
that I
my
can
hopes
trace
and dreams and
when I do the
aspirations.
final
See,
piece
it's
to make my
fucking
life
nothing.
a little bit
That's
easier.
an old meme.
So I can see
I've also
what
got
it is I'm
an arm on
bloody
the other
doing.
side. Who'd have bloody thought?
Right,
Here's
yeah.
another hand. But what could this handy hand be
Swallow
holding?
do.
It's
Has that been
holding
a minute and
everything
a
I
half?
care
Is the
about in life. Oh,
Mr.
it's
Doodle
nothing
video
again.
stopped now?
It's the same joke
Who knows?
twice.
Who can
Oh,
say?
I hope I get murdered walking
fucking
home late
gives
at
a
night from the
shit?
park. Here's some blobs of piss dripping out of my trash bag. And because it's funny, here's a penis. A nice smiley penis. Not a vagina though, because those are filthy and awful. So here's a fish to represent one of those smelly things. Bunch of trash in my trash bag. Some shit. Oh, there we go. Wow. Bye.
I hope that worked. Yeah, the leg works like that, I think. But then how to have the foot? That foot should be there. That one straight down. Yeah, that works. That arm's a tricky one, isn't it? Fuck. Use my old trick of draw the hand first and then just draw the arm connecting it. Yeah, that works. Doot, doot. Follows this line and shoots off. To be a bit more dramatic, I may pull the head upwards slightly in the final drawing. And then we'll have ourselves a MORTY. And as I will do from time to time, hold it up to the light so I can see how it looks in reverse. I guess with this I don't really need to because of the dense marker pen I use. That's quite a good shape though, isn't it? That works. Let me try to make this a bit more curved, perhaps, rather than... I do tend to do my arms and things quite angular when I make them all big and such, but let me try to make this one a bit more curved. Let me get in there, I think. And of course, maybe, just maybe, this whole thing was an excuse for me to do my famous Rick and Morty impersonations. Ah, Morty, goddamn you, Morty. Ah, geez, Rick, I'm a drawing, Rick. Is that how they pronounce drawings in that American accent, Rick? I don't know. Ah, geez. Do you know what? I've had an idea. Bear with. I'll cut here and then. Hey, Morty. We're puppets, Morty. My impression's not on point. My apologies. Ah, geez, Rick. We've gone into a dimension where we're made out of felt, Rick. I'm a puppet, Rick. Ah, geez. Yeah, Morty. This is really fucked up, Morty. I don't know where we are. I've never been here before. But I don't know what I'm doing, Morty. You gotta turn around and let me fuck you in the ass, Morty. Ah, geez, Rick. I can't. There's a hand up my ass, Rick. I'm a puppet. I'm doing my puppet dance. This is how they talk on the show. It's all improvised, Rick. That's right, Morty. In a dimensional cable. It's all improvised. They stutter the words like this because the guy's making it up on the spot, I guess, or something, Morty. Oh, geez, Rick, your impression's really not as good as it was once upon a time, Rick. You're not. Geez, Morty. Maybe I'm trying too hard, Morty. Put a little less effort in enough. So that was that bit. Now it is, and maybe I'll just carry on with my drawing. I hope you enjoyed my literal puppet show. See, because it was a puppet show, so they're puppets. See, they look like Muppets, like Rick and Morty Muppets, which is a thing I think exists. I've not really looked into it, but I think someone did make a little Rick and Morty Muppet puppet video. We're puppets, Morty. I'm made of felt. I'm a puppet, Morty. Ah, geez, Rick, you're a puppet. I'm a puppet too, Rick. Ah, geez, a little kid who's a puppet with a shitty haircut, Rick. I almost called you Morty, but I'm Morty. You're Rick Sanchez. That's right, Morty. God damn it. I'm the Rick, and you're my Morty, and I'll kill you and have 1,000 more Mortys. Oh, all the Mortys in the world. You're a piece of shit, Morty. You're not even worth the skin that you're made out of, Morty. You're nothing to me, but I love you anyway. You little shit. Yeah, you're all right. You're all right, and I like having you around. Sometimes. Ah, geez, Rick, that's kind of good. You know, I think you're okay too. Ah, geez. That's. Oh, little Morty Mort. And Ricky. Maybe I'll sell these. Someone will want to pay lots of money for some shitty cardboard cutout puppets. I guess I've got to extend this podcast somewhat somehow. So that's the rough sketch done, which is actually one of my tidier rough sketches as far as they go. Now it's time to tracey trace this. Pardon me. Oh, you can see all the blobs from the marker pen. I should have used the blotting sheet, as they say in the industry. Let's get my light box light pad up and at them. Up and at them. Up and at them. Up and at them. That's from The Simpsons. I can't find my USB slot. Oh no, what am I going to do? Oh, there it is. Squat-a-dow. So now we trace the thing onto the thing, make it roughly centered. Maybe his head's a little too big. Is his head a little too big? No, I think it's all right. I think actually it's all right. Yeah, that'll maybe not look terrible. I guess we'll see. Roughly centered. Let's trace him. Light blue ballpoint pen. I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't really use pencil for this, because then I can rub it out and you won't be able to see it. But instead, I choose to use the ballpoint pen, and then you can still see the lines underneath, which some would say is relatively bad form. But fuck them, they're idiots. What did we say at the beginning of this episode? I just don't give a fuck. Thank you, Eminem, for that song. One of his earlier songs. I don't give a fuck, as the title would, have us. So nice and easy, brisk, basic lines, just giving me the general outline of what it is I'm doing. Just enough that when I go like this, I can see what I've got and I'll be able to fill in the rest on my own. Right. Where's the young boy's crotch? That's just what I want in my life. More young boys' crotches. All right. Please don't phone the police. They said they'll put me away next time. See, the joke there is that I'm a repeat offender. All right. A bit too far on the leg there. He doesn't have laces in the show, but you know what? I'm going to give him laces because I'm not a monster. A young boy can have laces in his shoes, god damn it. There's no rules against that, is there? Surely not. That'd be an absurd rule to have. Young boys should not have laces in their shoes, so they can be taken off quicker when they're getting fucked in the behind. This is my new character. It's Catholic Church Ewan. I rape young boys. That arm's far too long. What have I done? It's all right. I'll say it's my artistic style. Brilliant. Oh, in other news, I have literally no other news. Thank you for listening to the ewansucks. I must have done that joke about a billion times already. Not a huge fan of the big hand, but you know what? I'm not a huge fan of life in general, but I do it anyway, so much like that, I'll do it anyway. Of course, the hand and arm as a whole needn't really match Morty and his body, should they really? Because since they're not... Oh, well, I guess it is his arm, isn't it? It's just the muscle memory that got put... yeah, it's not like a transplant, is it? No, fair enough. Just forget the entire thing I just said. And we'll all be fine. Big Morty head. Like as you've probably seen, you know, I'm assuming you've all seen every piece of work I've ever shown anyone ever. I did my own design of Pickle Rick's rat suit, where rather than a rat suit, he was pretty much just inside the body of a rat with the front torn off, which I think is a much better design than the one they actually used in the show. Because I don't know, there's just something about the one in the show that's just so sort of bland. It just doesn't feel like there's much to it, which is a shame. I did see some of the concept sketches for the Pickle Rick rat suit, and some of them were fucking awesome. They were like huge Hulk-like things. Some of them were like, yeah, more or less what I had designed with more rat to them, as opposed to just the few parts of a rat that he actually had in the show. Which I feel, yeah, they're just far more interesting designs than were actually used, which is a damn shame, frankly. Because something like that you could do, there's a lot more you could do with it. But then the final one just sort of looked too stickmanish. But then I guess, you know, he's a pickle, so I don't know, maybe it was easier to animate, or maybe I don't fucking know or care and it doesn't matter. But just as a whole, you know, shit's cool in the show, and some of the alien designs are cool, monsters and things, but just there's certain things like Morty's fucking hairstyle that kind of sucks ass, you know. That's what I'm trying to say here. Ooh. Of course, the difficult part about bending the body like this with a shirt on is trying to figure out where to put fucking creases in the shirt without it looking all poopy poos. It's a difficult thing to overcome, yes. Ah, young Alec boy, yes. Ah. Try and put some of those all-important veins in his arms. Or arm, singular rather. I try to make veins and things roughly anatomically correct, but there's so many of them, it's hard to get them all correct all the time, you know? Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, if you're doing stuff like this, you can just throw veins in anywhere and people will go, oh, veins, I see. It's like if you were to draw a television set. You might draw a television set, something like this. When in fact, televisions haven't looked like that for a long time. Televisions nowadays just look sort of like this, which is, you know, whatever. So if you were to draw a phone, you might draw a phone like this, as they used to look, when in fact now you just need to draw this. It's called, oh, I don't know what it's called. It's like an icon, a visual icon, just something for your brain to latch onto to go, ah, I see, phone. That's the message I'm getting from this, phone or television. Same way with this, oh, veins in the arm. I see what I'm getting. I'm getting veins in the arm. But then again, that could just be me making excuses for why I can't be fucked drawing everything properly and instead take the easy way out all the time, because it's the easy way out and that's why I do it. Is that hand too small? Surely not. Maybe. No, he's a wee little kid. That would be alright, wouldn't it? The legs aren't too... think that might work. I can always scrap the entire thing and start again, I suppose, if needs be. I'd rather not, but you know, sometimes these things just happen. Torn cloth's always a tricky one because your instinct goes jagged line, but like, you know, you want to make it actually look like torn cloth, don't you? Not torn cloth. As the alternative might be. That might do it for now, actually. Yeah. Bloody yeah. Woo, yeah. That's fucking hair. Jesus, your fucking hair, Morty. I hate it so much. It's the worst haircut on anyone ever. Well, I might be able to tidy some of this up. I might not. I want to throw a few creases in the trousers, but not too many. Don't want to overdo it now, do you? He says, adding in thousands upon thousands of extra creases. Yeah. That's a trick I use as well when I'm trying to figure out angles and things. Simplest is better. So when I start, the body is this shape, and then you work in the actual shapes. And then if I'm trying to get the leg bent, I know the knees aren't that shape, but you go knee to there, leg to there to the knee, and then from the knee to the end of the leg, and then you add in the rest. Really important, necessary drawing tips from Ewan. Well, let's see if I can get this hand looking remotely correct. Probably I can't. I think that'll do it, woo it. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Or fucking just leave me alone. Oh, that's got to be good enough, surely. Yeah, that'll probably do. Let's ink the bastard up. Now, obviously, I've been using my Pentel brush pen, wherever the fuck it's gone. I literally have no idea where it's gone. That's great. Good time. Oh, there it is. But it takes refillable ink cartridges, which have run out, and I did have spares, but ladies and gentlemen, would you believe I've lost them? I very rarely lose things. In fact, I'd go as far as to say I never lose things. However, in this case, I lost things. Well, that's annoying. I'll pick some more up at a later date. But for now, I've got this other brush pen. It's got a fine liner on one end and a brush on the other. Not quite as agile as the Pentels, but you know, it's a brush pen. I'm sure it will do the job. I drew something with it the other day. I forget what, but you know, whatever it was, I'm sure it was fucking amazing. And of course, I say of course a lot. Did you just hear my belly rumble? I wonder if the microphone picked that up. It's not really of course at all, it's just a thing. I have very shaky hands in general. So if I draw something detailed, somebody might go, oh, you must have such a steady hand. And I say, no, you fool, harlot, be gone. In fact, I have very shaky hands, which is annoying when I'm trying to do like thin lines with a brush pen, because then you see the line go, which is no good. Well, not that it's no good, it's just, you know, most people, if they do see it, probably don't give a shit, but I see it and I know why it's like that. And I despise it. So it's easier to just eat a fat line, but then, you know, you can't have the whole thing made out of fat lines, that would be silly. You can see it in some of my ballpoint drawings as well. These wobbly lines appear everywhere. It's usually when I try to be careful and make a nice smooth line, and then my hand goes, nope, fuck you, cunt, no straight lines for you, you big piece of shit, which is thoroughly irritating. And I don't even know how to fucking do his hair. If I just do it as like a shape like that and then add in some, I don't know, fucking little dashes here and there when I'm shading it in. Ooh, fucking hell. The trials of being a shit. And these fucking eyeballs, man. Pupils, rather. Who, when they were designing the characters, who came up with the fucking shitty squiggle for a pupil? That's just, it's oh god, fucking hate it so much. Obviously there's far more important things to be annoyed about than that, but and as always, I run out of things to say. And as always, I try to spend as little time in the podcast as possible talking about the podcast as a thing. It gets very meta, you know. And that includes trying not to talk about how much time I'm spending talking during the podcast. But it happens, you know. All right, well, here's a question. Why do you listen to the podcast? Do you, or watch, or whatever, do you watch for my sparkling, hilarious personality? Or do you watch for the artistic learnings? Or some other thing entirely that I didn't even realise I was doing? Or do you just put it on to have something in the background to drown out the monotony of everyday life? If I listen to this shit, which I don't because I'm not a fucking loser. I just make it. I don't fucking sit and listen to it like a fucking bummer. Again, make sure my shapes are looking all right by turning them the wrong way. Or rather the opposite way. I guess there is no really right or wrong way. Or maybe there is. I don't give a fuck. Like I said at the beginning. Get it. Shut up with that shit. I was, by the way, only going to do the rough sketch for today's podcast and then leave the inking either for a separate video or a separate podcast or some such thing. But I figure time-wise, I can squeeze in the basic inking at least. And then all the shading, as I did with Tetsuo in my previous one. I'll just make a whole separate video for that. Or something. Oh, excuse me. Did I say at the beginning I was going to try and not make it too big and veiny? Because apparently I'm just going to go ahead and make it big and veiny anyway. Oh, we do like it big and veiny, don't we, girls, eh? Yeah, eh? A nice big veiny cock. Yeah, that's what I like. I mean, that's what I like to... I like having my cock be big and veiny, not like touch a big veiny cock. That's fucking gay. I don't do that shit. It's fucking disgusting, mate. How can you fucking do that? Sickening. It's fucking sickening, mate. Ooh. I like to stick my nice big veiny cock in a bird. Yeah. Not literally a bird. I don't like fuck a pigeon or nothing, but like, a fucking chick, a girl. Yeah, nice fucking lass with my big veiny dick in her body. Ooh, yeah, fucking yes. And that's how men talk. Do. Well, hey, even if I'm not saying anything, it's more fun than hearing me whinge about not being able to make it as an artist, isn't it? That's fun to hear about. Although, to be fair, I did get lots of, I say lots, like 3 comments saying how glad people were to hear me talking like that. It's very relatable and they like to hear that, not everything's as wonderful as the influencers would have you believe. Putting forth this these false hopes and dreams, man. Saying that you can achieve great things if you just try. Meanwhile, they have a lot of money and such behind them already. Therefore, it's easier to achieve your dreams. Let's just lie to everyone always, yeah. As if I know what I'm talking about. I should fucking shut up and draw you. Cock. Is that too angular? Nah, that's one. Probably. Hey, look, it's Ewan's recurring character, second guessing everything he does, man. Yay. Let's have zero faith in my ability. Only joking. I know I'm fucking amazing. You can all eat my shit. You fucking pieces of fucking wank garbage. That's what you are. Bunch of pieces of fucking wank garbage. The problem, of course, is when you don't really know anatomy and stuff, you just draw shit and go, yeah, that looks about right, that'd do. But then when you start actually learning things and knowing how things work, or even have a vague idea how things are supposed to look, and then you start drawing, you start going, oh no, I'm doing this all wrong, time and time again. What a terrible error. Which is annoying, you know. And sometimes you might know that, like, the anatomy doesn't really matter, but still in your head you're going, yeah, but there's no reason for me to purposely get it wrong. And it just... Oh, go on, Ewan, try being positive. Jesus. This is the where the podcast's gone on too long, and I need to fucking shut up and just I don't know, press stop or do something else, because this is not helping anybody. Maybe I'll just fade out here. This has been the You and Sucks Drawing Podcast, episode 28, I think. I hope you enjoyed it.